Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Expert Division with the qualifying round win here for the Big Rig Tournament in Golf Clash the game. Before we take a closer look, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking for the best guides on the market, you go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. You can also scan the QR code on the screen and go directly there. Now we do have a new billing system on Patreon, which means that no matter when you sign up, you will get content for 1 month and we don't have to deal with refunds and stuff like that as it were before. So that's an absolute amazing news for us with our guides. Follow the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, and also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. Last but not least, these are shots compiled by Brandon Burke, but also some sort from myself. Make sure to go over and subscribe to Brandon's channel, which he provides an amazing amount of content and brilliant content as well for you to improve your game. Link is in the description down below. So send it on hole number 1 here in Expert. We do have a layup option as well that is absolutely money. But for those that do not want to take their chances with a perfect thorn, then you are sending it. Start at max, yellow ring by the rough line with apoc 8. And then the standard overlap with the other apocs. Playing with 4 topspin and 1 left spin. Adjust its max plus a 10p5. And here I've been playing the same spin with the different wind angles and has been working fine every time. The reason I'm also using just 4 topspin here is that if I do not clip the rough with my third bounce, then I will still stay on the fairway in the back. And if you're very unlucky, you could miss everything and just roll into the rough on the back of the green. And I mean, that's still a super short one from the rough and still a good chance for an eagle. But that's basically the only risk that we're taking here on hole number 1. Hole number 2, you can play with wind up to 8 miles per hour here, or playing with 5 backspin and 3 right spin. We're looking to have the tip of the ball guideline to go approximately 1.5 green square through the hole. No wind angle tweaks here, has been really good with just playing without that. Adjustment is going to be on hole 2. We play 1-to-1 minus 0.1. For those playing with a wind 5 ball, then you are doing 1-to-1 minus 0.3 instead. This because of the lower wind, obviously. Center the ball and hit perfect, and this will be a very good chance for you to get a drop. And you can play this shot with the rock level 7+. So you can see here now we bounce into the rough, hits the fringe, and dropping it a little bit on the left side of the cup. It doesn't really matter, but we're getting a nice little hole-in-one here in hole number 2. On the drive here on hole number 3, we're gonna look to be at the top of plus 10 with the blue ring to the left by the rough line. Once we have done that, we're applying spins, which is going to be half a bar of left spin. Adjustment here now is going to be max plus 10 power 3, not power 5, even if we're playing with a power 5 ball. The reason we're playing with a power 5 ball here is to ensure that we're not going to have to dabble with some overpower and stuff like that on the second shot. So a power 5 ball here is absolutely perfect. And obviously if you do want to play with any other power 5 ball, doesn't have to be a berserker, it could be a luminary or any other power 5 ball as well. If you want to do that, you can do that just fine. Perfect ball it is. We're gonna bounce on the fairway down towards the rough line, and by not using any topspin and stuff like that, we'll leave ourselves short enough to have room for errors, and we are looking to get to around 325 yards. On the second shot, we're not going for the pin here. The wind is very difficult to attack the pin from this range, and most likely going to have to require a ball with a bit more side spin, or if you want to go super aggressive by going to a double bounce into the rough or even into the sand and to roll towards the pin. But in the qualifying round we played safe, we take our eagle and we run. So 6 topspin, 1 right spin, and we're gonna look for the sticky spot there by the rough line, and using plus 5% elevation, and then whatever slider that we do get from the landing position. Here I'm using a little bit of overpower, which is the reason why I'm going a bit too long. But still, I mean, I'm still having a wedge towards the pin, and this is one of the shorter wedges in the game, so this is going to be very hard to miss this one. But from plus 20 I play 94% slider just to give you a reference. Hole number 4, we're going to play with 2 topspin and 2.5 bar of right spin. We prefer to have a wind between 6.5 and 8 miles per hour here. So we are adding the spins, and now we're going to look for 2 things. The white ring to be by the bunker, but most importantly, tip of the ball guideline to be 4 green squares through the hole, and that's my biggest focus point. Obviously that means that you're going to have to zoom in and zoom out a little bit like I'm doing here now, but I want to make sure that I am positioned in the absolute correct possible way. Once that is done, we're gonna play medium distance with a 30% elevation, P3 numbers, and we're gonna play with a 1201 pull angle, as you can see here on the video. This is the angle with no tweaks here, so we're just gonna center the ball and hit perfect. A perfect ball here will roll down nicely and will catch the funnel that is there by the green. And even if you do hit great, it's a super safe way of getting a birdie, but it's a nice one, dead center from hole in one here on hole number 4. On hole number 5, we're going to stretch out to absolute max. We're going to have the ball guideline to be centered into that big, the first big sequoia tree. 5.8 topspin and 2 right spin. I would say rather go 5.7 over going 5.9. This because we do want to avoid the glitch roll rolling us into the rough on the back, and if you are heavy on the topspin, there's a risk that you trickle just into the rough if you are very unfortunate. Adjust max, and we are not just max, obviously max with no elevation, P5 numbers. And for a pock 5, 6, 7, and 8, we're not going to push up anything. We're going to go max curl to the right, max overpower with a slow needle with approximately 2 balls of curl to the right. And we get down either on the green or just by the green for a simple eagle. On the drive on hole number 6, we're going to go 3 right spin and 5 top spin. We're then looking to have the white ring completely inside the rough line, with the second bounce to be just after it shows being clipped by the rough. You can see there, that's a good spot with the ball guideline. You can see here that I'm making sure that the white ring is positioned correctly as well. Max no elevation, P3 numbers. And once we have made the adjustment, we're going to go full curl to the right and max overpower with a completely slow needle. Perfect it is, and we're going to bounce nicely on the fairway, and we're going to get ourselves around 355 to 365 yards. So at least that's our intention. We could be a little bit short as well, it's not the end of the world, but 355 to 365 is ultimate. On the second shot, we're gonna do a bunker check where the bunker line is aligned with the pin. So you can see here now we have +6 as our number, and we're gonna use 3 left spin and 3 back spin, and we're gonna have the ball guideline to be 1 green square past and half a green square right of the pin. Right, I don't like offset generally, but this hole it's a must, or we're gonna have to use a pretty wonky pull angle, which I'm not interested in. So adjustment here now, we're gonna use a +4 as our base there by the bunker check, and that's going to be 17% slider with 55% elevation, P3 numbers. center the ball and hit perfect, and this will actually be a pretty decent chance. It's a very tough par 5 to consistently drop for an albatross, but with our shot here we definitely have a possibility. On the drive here we're going to stretch out to very max, and now it's important that we're looking to have the rings as equally inside the rough. So my blue ring here should in that case be halfway into the rough on the right and also to the left. And then to right 5.8 topspin, and we're going to then make an adjustment as max, no elevation, P5 numbers. Once we have done that, we shall not push up here to max. We're gonna play with 1.5 ball of right curl based on from max OP, and we're gonna use a complete slow needle with max OP with that. It's not gonna shake anything. Bounce on the fairway into the rough and then to roll out. Sure, we could squeeze out a little bit more curl maybe, and we could also end up using a little bit more topspin. The dangerous part by using a little bit too much topspin is that if you miss the rough with your second bounce, you might roll into the rough on the back, and that's definitely, in my opinion, stupid, especially when from this range we are now, we have more or less a straight win for the eagle. So for the second shot here, the wedge here is, in my opinion, very easy, as we have more or less a straight wind. As I said of the drive there, you could maybe squeeze out a little bit of topspin extra on that drive, but the result with that could be that you're missing the rough and then you end up in the rough on the back, and that's, I mean, I take this all over a risk of going into the rough. So what I'm doing here is that I'm playing an EB School version that is a max topspin version of EB7 and EB8, which gives us minus 35% elevation P4 numbers. If you play a no spin version, you play it obviously the no spin, but you play plus 20% elevation P5 numbers. And again, there is room for errors here, especially when the rings are so small with Endbringer, and we end up with a simple and lovely eagle on hole 7. Hole number 8, difficult one here in the guide. We do have a shot for win 3, win 4, and this is win 5. Playing an NMT, the win 5 version is playing with 1.3 backspin and whatever right spin that gets the third bounce in the center of the bright green square row. So very similar structure to what we do have on the other option. Adjustment is 1-to-1. And in this angle, we're gonna call this one the red angle, and we're gonna use 4 clicks of left curl to compensate in this angle. So center the ball, then you add the tweak, and then try, obviously, your very best to hit perfect. Bounce, and it bounces, and it rolls up the green, and dead center for lovely hole-in-one on the toughest par 3 of the Sequoia Creek. Hole number 8. So for the drive we start with a quarterback in complete max distance with a power 3 ball. Blue ring to be just by the rough line, swap to a pock and sniper bag. And you can add the spin before you swap if you would like. 3 left and 2 top spin. And then swapping, then we adjust max no elevation P3 numbers. Now we're gonna use curl, and we're gonna go with approximately 2 balls of left curl, and we're gonna do just before circle drops. And this is a method players without curl grids are using to get consistent when it comes to curl, but for those using grid lines, then you're gonna have to use the circle drop method, because you will be into overpower based on your curl grids. And then the ball gets to approximately 320 yards, which is perfect. For the second shot, we're gonna play an approach that I do believe is starting to become a favorite of mine. 1.8 topspin, and we're gonna do a leaf check, which is +2. As you can see here now that I'm moving to have the second bounce just by the edge of the rough line. This we are playing into is a massive funnel. Blue ring by the rough line, ball guideline to fall right side of the pin, and so the key here is to add the 1.8 topspin, move up so you have the second bounce just before it gets, it shows it's not going to clip the rough, and have the blue ring by the rough line. From +2 we're adjusting 1 to 1, and that's going to be our base as well. Perfect ball it is, and you are going to notice that we bounce into the rough like that, and then it rolls down and it catches the funnel, and we get this ball to drop dead center for a lovely albatross here on hole number 9. Thank you everybody for watching this playthrough for Expert Division with the qualifying round win, and obviously these type of wins and shot you can apply and tweak and use for other divisions, but also a few further down into the tournament for the opening round and also for the weekend round. It's new month on Patreon, it's August month, and as I said in the beginning of the video, we now have a new billing system on Patreon which I'm amazed to have applied, which means that no matter where you sign up in the month, you will get 30 days of content, so 1 month of content, so it doesn't have to be as it were before. So that's perfect. Sign up, scan the QR code on the side on the screen, or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtom and get one of our packages.